This month on Inquisitive, Your Miracle Resource, the podcast. Do you want more from your team members? Katherine and Sarah discuss 5 actions you can start today to create a high-performing team.
Welcome back to Inquisitive, Your Miracle Resource, the podcast. This is Katherine Miracle and Sarah Russin this month. So for March, we're talking about 5 actions you start to creating a high-performance team. How you been?
Good. It's so good to see you. And wow, a lot of great feedback from everyone who's listening. It was so great to see your response to the article. We started it in LinkedIn, but we talked about the 5 actions that really need to happen to build a strong workplace culture. And so many of you who watch the podcast and write to us, you're the culture champion. You're the one who's making things happen. You're the one bringing us in for training. You're the one who says, hey, we really need to change things before things become toxic. And I just want to thank all of you because I know that's not the easiest job, to be the person who says, look, I'm going to help make that change happen. So thanks for taking those actions, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that article went over very well. I saw a lot of good responses and a lot of people interacting with it. So it's great to see that everyone 2021 off great. So you just want to hop into the 5 actions or?
Sure. When we talk about the biggest action, they're all important. Don't get me wrong. They're all important. But when you think about the way in which we communicate, it's so important that we as a team have come together and talked about what is respect, because to Sarah, respect means one thing. To me, respect means another thing. What is it that fits in the team that we're working with in terms of communication? And how we communicate with each other. That's so important. When we look at negative words and using negative words, we can say, oh, so-and-so, that was such a dumb move that you made. Oh, just kidding. And a lot of problems begin right there. They begin when there's a lack of understanding. Was the person really kidding? And are they trying to say something through their joke so that way I know about it? It's part of listening and understanding each other. And so one of the fun ones, I think, is the mocktail cocktail, the one-on-one, getting to know each other, looking at the 360 of how people work together and what motivates them. I believe in any great workplace culture, people listen and they observe and they kind of strategize. How will I work with this person? One-on-ones really help us get to know each other. And there's also just some great words that one of the things I really love to share is just some great ideas that we've seen. So let's say Sarah and I are meeting for the first time. And Sarah says, I love going to bonfires. And the first thing I say is, oh my gosh, the smoke bothers me so much. I can't stand bonfires. Well, now what's happened? We're just like oil and water. Instead, okay, maybe bonfires really do bother me, but I might say something like, yeah, it's probably fun to get together with your friends and enjoy. And, what's your favorite thing to bring to the bonfire? And then, we're talking and we're having a conversation. So it's little things like that that matter so much, because when we first meet people and join a new workplace, our job is to really understand that culture. Now, as we grow in it, yes, we're going to bring things to it, and we may see things that we don't like. We may see things that we do like. But if we never listen and observe and we just go in and say it has to be our way, then things aren't going to happen. And that's why that monthly training and our Inquisitive Leadership Program and Inquisitive Culture as a Book of the Month Club, we get everyone together and we talk about these things, and then we discover and learn the culture and set the culture together, not by one person saying, this is our company culture. It's got to be the team. So it's more about communication and building bridges rather than tearing each other down with our words.
I love that idea. I think it's a very important quality to have, is to fully open your ears when you're talking to somebody. And I love the idea of being able to, even if you don't agree with the topic, you can still find something positive. And if you can keep it to something that maybe you can like domino effect and start another conversation, then you're developing that relationship, whether it's work related or not. If it's small talk, it's okay, because you're developing that workplace relationship. I think that really solidifies a good workplace.
I love how you said that, Sarah, because it's dominoes. It's again, finding ways to communicate and really build that relationship. And for this episode, I think it's so important, and I call it spring, even though for some people it doesn't feel like spring. It's spring, and we're going to be doing activities again. And Miracle Resources has done training with axe throwing and escape rooms and horseback riding and retreats and, community events and doing something for a charity as a team. So we do our training and then these fun team buildings. Well, we're coming back on that. Now we're seeing events that I'm getting speaking gigs that I'm actually going to be going instead of doing it on Zoom. That's a big change. But when we all come back together again, everyone has come through this pandemic a different way. So we have to listen to and observe to understand each other, to regroup. Now, some of the teams we work with, they are staying full on remote. And so there's a lot of fun things that we do with them. So no matter which way you work, training is always needed. It builds communication, but there should be the fun component as well, whether that's face-to-face doing an activity together, or like last summer, Sarah, do you remember we did those trips to Italy and they were all virtual and it was really fun. So our teams were able to experience something together, even though it was virtually. So no matter where you're at as a team, if you're somebody who you cannot wait to be back together in the office, or you don't want to go back to the office, we can make the workplace culture work. Again, through great training, through listening and observing, and of course, adding a fun activity.
Yeah, I think 2021 will be the ultimate dynamic of mastering virtual and mastering in person, because you could do either or with the training, and it's just a great alternative because I think I'm just so excited for this summer. So I think it's like an energizing feeling for this year, and I hope that translates with other people as well, because I don't know, I feel like a little kid that's about to burst out for summer vacation. So I'm ready.
I do too. And I know our audience is feeling that way. Doing a speech, I have one April 20th, and I literally have been working from home since March 10th. We were 50% virtual Miracle Resources before, and then we went 100% virtual on March 10th of 2020. So Sarah, on April 20th, I'll be putting high heels on. I haven't worn high heels since March 10th of 2020. I'm thinking, are my feet even going to want to do this? Because when you're working from home, you usually don't wear shoes. And if I am out, I'm wearing tennis shoes as we're working out or whatever. So I think everyone is feeling like that. And just some tips for everyone as we go through this. Miracle Resources always has taught, and no matter what topic we're teaching, is build your way back. The first weeks back, if you have something planned every day, you might get exhausted because you're not used to that. Our schedules are going to change. And like Sarah said, getting out there and we feel like a little kid again. But we also have to balance that. We are still going to have some people that want to meet with us on Zoom. We're going to have some people say, can you do one-on-one? Are you available to meet on Teams? Are you available Google Hangout or WebEx or Ring Central, whatever works for you? But I just want all of us as professionals to remember, the more we listen and observe to the people we work with, and again, we adapt not only our style, they'll adapt their style. So it's going to be a process, and it's an exciting time. But I know a lot of people that we talk to, Miracle Resources clients, will say, I don't know that I'm going to go back to having so many lunches. I don't know that I'm going to go back to having so many coffees. I don't know that I want to run the crazy schedule I used to run. And that's okay. In our balance and stress seminar, one of the things we talk about, and it's in one of our actions, is understanding yourself and how you can make it work. Of course, we all have jobs. We all have roles we have to play. That was one of the first things we said in the article last month. We all know that we have things we have to do, but how we approach them now can be very different. So it's an exciting time.
I think it's almost like, so I'm just thinking about spring and everything like that. And we actually started like a small garden in our backyard. And I remember I planted all the seedlings, and I called my mother-in-law, and I'm like, they're not sprouting. And she's like, just be patient, take it slow and watch them grow. And it's almost similar to this, and it was funny because she just started back full time because she had just started new opportunities. And I said, take it slow and watch you grow, because you're going to have some adjustment periods, because when you've been at home for so long, stepping back into that office environment, make sure you don't overwork yourself, because going back Monday through Friday is going to be a hard enough task. And she called me that Saturday and she's like, oh my gosh, you're totally right. And I said, give it about a month, but slowly start to add things. So now she called me this week and she's like, I'm going out to dinner during the week finally. So
it's good for her. Hey, you guys are great. Mother and daughter-in-law. I love that you guys give each other the same advice, but on different tasks. I just think that's so great because we do need those allies, those people that we can talk to and say, oh my gosh, I went back to the office and it was crazy and I was getting so much more done at home. And then you have the verse side, the other side where the person says, I needed to get out of the house so I could get more work done. But patience is a big thing, and it goes along with the 5 actions. And Sarah, as you look at the 5 actions, I'm going to try to address each one, but if I forget one, tell me. One of the big things is that patience. We know that if we have a coworker who's difficult, if we have a underperforming coworker, we know from studies that getting rid of somebody and turnover is risky. It is also a financial loss. If we can save someone. So one of the actions that we proposed in 2003, and we've been doing it since then, is working with your underperforming employees. We also will work with the difficult coworker. They need a little patience, they need a little grace, and as we say, they need a little miracle. Because everyone in the workplace comes to the workplace with their own ideas, thoughts, and expectations. And sometimes what needs to happen is that self-discovery. And I'm so proud of your mother-in-law. Please congratulate her. She's going in, learning the culture, and everybody take a moment to think about this, learning the culture, going back full-time, going into the job. If there are any confidence issues that any employee carries, they carry that in the first day. They want to show they're doing a good job. And one of the actions that we talked about in the article was creating an environment where people don't report on each other, they help each other. So your mother-in-law in the workplace is going to see there are certain people who are really good to go to get help. And she's going to feel like every employee, you wish you didn't have to ask, but you do need to ask for help. And the team has to be designed and the workplace culture has to be created based on not reporting on each other and saying, oh, this person did this wrong, but actually helping each other. That builds the workplace quicker. It increases productivity. It keeps turnover down, as well as, any of the lawsuits and other pieces that go with it. So many people who follow Miracle Resources are HR folks, and they know that we're able to help those underperforming employees as well as those difficult coworkers through self-discovery. And I just want to say to each of you, no matter where you are, whether you're Sarah's mother-in-law is just starting a job and you're excited to get going, or you've been with the company a long time, we do offer one-on-one confidential. We do that for many people. They will come home from work very upset about something, and they're not ready to take it to HR. It's not an HR matter yet. They're concerned about communication with another coworker. When you call us, it's confidential, always confidential. We will listen and we will strategize with you. As you know, we will always tell you, HR, of course, is available to do this, but depending upon the company that's calling, it can be a different situation of when HR should be brought in. So we are HR allies and supporters. We're always there to help them, but we're also there to help the individual. So many employees say they just didn't feel like what was going on was something that was HR related. They didn't need to do that. They just needed someone to listen. And Sarah, you sound like you're there for your mother-in-law and she's there for you too. And I agree with both of you. It's patience. And I know your flowers will come up soon. What did you plant?
Oh, I planted, it's called a salsa garden plot. So there's tomatoes, peppers, cilantros, there's flowers. And so right now I'm in North Carolina for anybody who didn't know, but I'm down here. It's mid-60s and already all of my flowers have popped up. So
I'm in Ohio. It's so jealous. I'm so jealous. We see a little bit of daffodil coming up, but I'm going to the grocery store to buy all the things that you said, Sarah. You're going to have them in your garden sooner. And every week we're looking for that fresh produce. And, it's funny because when you think about the workplace, it's kind of like that. You're planting seeds, you're working on a project, you need to have the patience and you need to tend to that garden to let it grow. And that's the same thing with workplace culture. It does not change overnight. And I know that we have many people who listen, and maybe you're in a situation where you're very upset about what's going on at work and you want things to change. Again, being an ally and having somebody to talk to is why we are always there. It's interesting because I remember having a job where I was crying on my way into work and crying on my way home from work. And when that happens, something needs to get fixed. Something has to change. And there were things I needed to change, and there were some things in the workplace culture that needed to change as well. So being a culture champion means that, people will read the book, Inquisitive Culture. They'll get ideas. They'll start a book club, and that's been a big thing. Our book is the book of the month. And they will work with everyone on their team to change that culture. But just like Sarah's garden, it's not going to happen overnight.
Absolutely. And I will say that I definitely show value and appreciation to every one of my little seedlings. So you could just say that could translate in any point in your life.
That's so true. That's funny. But it is true. Everyone's important, and every piece of that garden is important, and how they grow. And it is very much like individuals. So when I look at us in 2021 and moving forward, moving out of a pandemic and moving now into good news and being able to see people. And I think it's so fun watching my mother-in-law, who actually gets to go out, and she's very social. So pandemic was very difficult, and she can see her friends. They're all vaccinated. It's wonderful. And, so these are some times that we need to take to celebrate, but we also need to have strategy because we're all communicating different things. Some people are going to be at events sooner. Some people are not going to want to go to events for a really long time. And how we strategize and work with each other builds the team, which builds the brand team and revenue.
Absolutely. I think tread slow, but I think everyone will come out pretty excited for this year for sure. Well, great. This sounds like 5 actions on a platter to me. So I think it's wonderful. I think it's a great, if you haven't read the article already, we do send it out in a MailChimp, but it's on Katherine Miracle's LinkedIn as well. It's a great read. I think it's beautifully written because it's a 5-point process. It's super easy to read. And the end goal is to build leaders who listen and respect one another. And I think that is the ultimate goal that we all want to walk in. I've seen a bunch lately on TikTok where people have been addressing this toxic workplace. So if maybe we can all work together, and if you need any assistance, Miracle Resources is always happy to help with training. I think that's absolutely wonderful.
Great. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Yeah.
And
all
good
right.
luck, everyone. We know that you're working hard, and remember, we're here to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to catch us back next month, and we'll discuss a new topic. But if you need us, you can find us on any social media. So we'll see you guys later.
Hey everybody, it's Sarah from the podcast. If you'd like to submit your stories, you can send them to km@miracleresources.com with the subject line Inquisitive Your Miracle Resource. We'd love to hear from you if you have any struggling workplace problems. You will remain completely anonymous, and in the stories all the names will change. We'd love to hear from you, and we will see you back here next month. Bye!